All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Okay, so we got to talk about a story that has been trending on online regarding a racist Chinese store in Nigeria that was recently shut down for discriminating against Nigerians from entering their store. And it's a fascinating story, and I want to talk about this because there's a larger context and a larger thing to be discussed regarding this story. And first of all, let me just read you guys some of the excerpt from this story. So according to BBC, it says Chinese supermarket in Abuja shut for allegedly boring Nigerians. A Chinese-owned supermarket in Nigeria's capital has been shut by authorities for over allegations that it denied entry to African shoppers. The supermarket in Abuja allegedly exclusively permits individuals of Chinese descent to enter, Nigeria's consumer protection watchdog said on X. It has summoned the supermarket's owner. The Chinese Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria has denied the racism allegation. The supermarket is a tenant in a building run by Chinese General Chambers of Commerce. Boladele Adeyinka, an official at Nigeria's Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the FCCPC, said that the watchdog has launched an investigation into the allegations. Now, this follows widespread outrage on social media after some Nigerians shared their experience of allegedly being turned away by security when they attempted to go to the supermarket. In one of the videos, a man said that he had discovered the supermarket online, but was blocked from entering the complex where it is located. At the gate, the security people told me that the supermarket is strictly for Chinese people. If you're a Nigerian, you can't go inside or buy anything. He said in a clip posted on X, formerly Twitter. In another video on X, a group of Nigerians are seen visiting a building to verify the report that non-Chinese shoppers were being turned away. A security guard outside the entrance appeared to tell them that the supermarket had cut off access to Nigerians since January of this year. That's important to know. We're going to talk about that. Several Nigerians have demanded the closure of the supermarket, including former Senator Shehu Sani, who said that any store in Nigeria that was not accessible to citizens should be forcibly opened or pulled down. In a statement quoted by local media, the CGCC said it stood for equality and inclusiveness. Our principles are to enhance friendship between the people of both countries and promote economic development, it added. And it goes on here to say that the supermarket's owner has not yet commented. She has been summoned to appear before the Consumer Protection Agency by Wednesday. And the watchdog says that the supermarket will remain closed until she complies with the summons. Nigeria has a Chinese population of less than 10,000, according to Statista's website. I don't think statistics know what they're talking about. There's more than 10,000 people in Chinese people in Nigeria. Anyway, let's talk about this. Okay, can you imagine the unmitigated gall of these Chinese people in another person's country? Can you imagine that? Anyway, before I even go into this video, I want you to take a look at a couple of the videos that have been circulating. One from the gentleman whom I just read for you that went there and was denied access into the store in his own country, who put out a video that went viral. And then I want you to also look at the video from others who went there because of the information they saw online, just to verify for themselves if this is really true. Because when you hear this stuff, you just kind of like, no, it cannot be true. Take a look at these videos.
So I'm going back to our local supermarkets because they say I cannot enter. Here in Abuja, me a Nigerian, I cannot enter a place. Go and try this in China and see. Open a place and say citizens not going to enter. You go see what will go happen to you. Nigeria.
That's the Chinese supermarket. That's it here. So January they stop.
This January they stop. Now they stop Nigerians to enter the supermarket.
Yes. Why? What's happening?
They're getting written notice, they're getting approval from government, they're getting anything there, make them bring that decision.
That's what they since January.
But before January, people they enter.
Before January,
Nigerians they come inside before January.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. My name is ASG. Currently, we are at the Chinese Chamber at Airport Road, Abuja. So we can hire my friend. We are up to 3 or 4 here. So we are not allowed to enter the Chinese supermarket. So it's not a joke. It's not a lie. We did Abuja right now. We did the place now. Show the environment.
That's the place. That's the building.
That's
So
the
apparently,
building
yeah, we are trying to. We've been want to try enter the place. Maybe know how far. But we have that now. Our Nigerian people. Now then they sell, baby. They are the ones selling in there. So if we go there, they might lose their job. Me, I was thinking we should just go and try to sell for us or not. But the security have explained things to us, and I think it's going to be wise. I don't want our people that are there working. They say even if they sell for us now, it will backfire on them. I mean, that's what they said. That's what they said. So we will not go to inside the. We don't want to force ourselves inside the supermarket, so it will not cause issues. So for now, we just confirm that, okay, you cannot go in as a Nigerian. Okay, they said that it's from January. They stop allowing Nigerians to buy things since from January. So you cannot enter. It's only for Chinese people. So that's what it is. We have confirmed it and it's true. So that's it. So
how do you feel about this?
I feel devastated. I came here with drama, actually.
Can you imagine the gall, the brazen gall of these Chinese people in your own country, in Nigeria, committing this type of racism? Can you imagine this? A behavior they would dare not allow in their own country. Now they do that in Nigeria. But of course, Nigerians are like, no, not here. You're not going to do that here. Because Nigerians know the saying. Nigerians are a special people. We don't have the time for that. This is in South Africa, where there's a white-only community in South Africa, and they let that whole thing thrive. This is not South Africa. Nigerians ain't going to let that fly. And I'm glad they didn't. Can you imagine in another person's country, for you to come to another person's country where you are, according to Statista, less than 10,000, which I think is, they're a little bit more than that, but it doesn't matter. It's not your country. To come in and open a store that Nigerians permitted you to have in their own country. And then you have the audacity to say that this store is only for Chinese people. Nigerians are not allowed. When I heard this story, I was like, no, this cannot be true. Do you understand this? Like when I heard it, I was like, someone is trying to play games. There's no way Chinese folks come to Nigeria, right? And blatantly be that racist in another person's country. Are they crazy? Right? And it happened that the story was true. But of course, you can trust my Nigerian people. The swift actions by the Nigerian government should be commended. The swift action to shut the place down once they learned about this should be commended. And that is exactly what that should be. That should be the response to such evil act. Can you imagine? These are the same people, right? In their own country, during the COVID-19 situation, they were seen kicking out Africans from hotels for a racial discrimination, saying that they suspect that these Africans have COVID with them. This is a country who plagued the entire globe with diseases like COVID-19. These same people had the audacity to kick Africans out in the middle of the night in their own country for something they couldn't verify. But because of the color of those African skin, they discriminated against them and said that we suspect that they have COVID-19 on them. Can you imagine the gall? And then to bring that nonsense to Nigeria. See, they're lucky that that Nigerians are very peaceful people, because they would have had that place. They're lucky that place they didn't burn that place down. You're lucky that Nigerians are peaceful enough to just shut it down, like the government has done. But you're lucky that that place didn't get burned down, because that is the type of behavior that no one on earth should tolerate, right? And even worse, you're doing it in someone else's country. You're doing it in Nigeria. right? It's funny, but it's not funny. It is funny, but it's not funny. But I am very proud of my Nigerian people. I am very, very proud of my Nigerian people who took action. The moment they saw that, and they took action. I am kudos to the Nigerians who put that on social media. Kudos to the Nigerian government for swift action, for exposing these racist Chinese people in Nigeria. Kudos to them. Now, of course, as you can see, that they said they've summoned the owner, and there's accounts that she has fled. There are accounts that the owner of that place, ever since that whole thing happened, fled. Let me tell you why that is. See, when I told you that there's a bigger picture on this, right? There's a bigger story here. Let me tell you what I suspect was going on in that place. Because when you hear the security guard from that video that I played you heard him say that this was not always the case, that they just started that in January. So prior to January of this year, Nigerians are allowed to go in there. So what happened in January that changed that whole thing? Let me tell you what I think is going on in there. I think that there was a change in business model. I think that there was an illegal activity. Let me tell you this. I think that there were illegal activities that were going on in there that they didn't want anyone to be aware of. I think when they investigate this, right, I think that they're going to discover a couple of illegal activities that were going on in that place that they knew that if they did not bar Nigerians from entering there, Nigerians were going to expose what was going on in that place. I guarantee you there's something like that going on in there. I guarantee you there was either some kind of human trafficking. Again, these are allegedly, but I can almost tell you there's something fishy going on in there. Because if you were allowing Nigerians to go in there before January, then what happened after January? First of all, the idea that you even think and conceive, right, borrowing citizens of a country from going into any place in their own country, the idea that you even conceive that thought is despicable alone on itself. It's despicable. The idea that you even think about it. But then the bigger question is, what happened, right, in January that now caused them to do that? I guarantee you, there's an illegal activity going on there. It's not going to be this, again, once they find out and open an investigation, you will find out there were probably human trafficking where they're taking Nigerian women. Because this, trust me, this is a known thing we know that goes on in that community. They're grabbing Nigerian little girls, right? You'll be surprised if that's going on in there. Grabbing them and selling them to Arab nations. Human trafficking. I can almost tell you that it's probably something illegal going on in there, or drugs. It is a human trafficking or drugs, sexual exploitation, something that is not legal, and they don't want anyone else knowing about this. That their own people they're all in code. They're in code with this, right? So they know what the deal is. But anyone that is not their own people could possibly blow a gasket on this. That's why she fled. They've summoned the owner, but she fled because she knows that this thing would open a can of worms that she ain't ready for. And she didn't reign. She didn't reign. But what I tell you, if there's nothing that boils my blood more when I see such brazen racism. These are people that are running out of their own country to places like United States, right? Their whole economy is starting to fall apart. They got like 1 billion plus people in their country. Their whole economy has been falling apart. They're leaving the country, going to the United States. They would never think about doing that in the United States. Never. They would never think about doing that in England. They would never. Basically, white countries, they would never. And the idea that they think that they could do that in Nigeria, and Nigeria would just be like, oh, no big deal. Yes, go ahead and discriminate against us. It is something that is a bigger issue that we need to address. But I'm glad that they learned and found out that Nigeria is not the one. Nigeria is not the place, and the people are not the one. Do you understand this? And I'm glad that Nigeria showed the rest of the world how they handle discrimination in their own country. Are you serious? In my own country? In my own country? How dare you? Right? They need to close the place and not even open it again. Even if you showed up, that's a done deal. That business needs to be taking their certificate of occupancy and the right to do business. They should revoke that permanently and let them go back to their country. That should be the final judgment on this, right? Nothing like, oh, we're sorry, we apologize, this is not true, we didn't mean that, or we wouldn't do it again. None of that. That should be a done deal. Building closed permanently and send them off to their country. Send them off to their country. Because here's what is a problem for them now. Is that the Nigerians that you're doing it to, and this is why Nigerians are pushing back. You know why Nigerians push back on this? And they always push back when they see stuff like this? Because Nigerians are starting to realize the value they are in the world. Nigerians are starting to realize the power that they have in the world. With all of the issues that people always like to point out with Nigerians are finding out that we are the superior black people on this planet. You're not going to treat us this way. And Nigerians are laying the foundation and are stepping in to show how it's done when such things happen. Not in my country. You're going to do that. Boy, I tell you, they need to investigate that place. It's not enough for them to shut it down, which is great, but they need to investigate that place because I think and I suspect there's something nefarious going on in there. Something illegal going on in that store. I don't even want to start with the perception that most people have here when it comes to Chinese folks. When I used to live in New York, there's a common perception that will float around that whenever you see a truck or a van, right, in the middle of the night and there's a Chinese person driving that truck or a van, you better report that to the police. There was this perception that we all knew in New York. That whenever you see a van, mostly black van, and there was a Chinese person driving that, you better call the NYPD because you may be saving the lives of young children who are sold for sex trafficking. You better call the NYPD and say, hey, you need to check that out. I have a bad feeling about this truck, and you need to check it out. There have been known cases where that has been true, where they've caught people of Chinese descent, right? Where they had a truck or they had one of those vans, and there were bus loads of girls being trafficked for sexual exploitation. When I was in New York, that was a known thing, and I would keep an eye every time I would keep an eye out for such thing, because there's many cases that have been known, right, of people of Chinese descent doing such things, which is why I suspect that there was something much larger that was probably going on in there, and they didn't want Nigerians to know about it, because if Nigerians knew, that was going to blow out, that was going to be a story, and they were going to expose that whole thing. So it was easy for them to now be discriminatory and say, hey, Nigerians are not allowed here, because all the other people are probably on code with that. Again, we don't know that for a fact, but I wouldn't put it past it. I wouldn't put it past it. So they better investigate that. Because you could very well be saving the lives of Nigerian women, young girls, if that's probably what's going on there. Or there's even drugs going on there. Something that is not legal is happening behind the closed doors of that store. And they need to investigate that. Do that in your own country. Do that in your own country. If they allow you to do that, you do that in your own country. Don't come to our country and do that type of deal. Worst off, don't come to our country and think that you can discriminate against us in our country and think that that'll be okay. No. You do that in your own country. Discriminate against your own people in your own country. Discriminate against your own people in your own country. You don't come to our country to do that. Because we're not going to let it go. And we're not going to let you do it. And we're going to expose this. And I think that goes for any other group. Any other group in Nigeria that think that you can come to Nigeria and discriminate against Nigerians in their own country, because they let you come to their own country. They let you come to their own country. Because apparently your country isn't giving you the opportunity. So they let you come to their own country for you to come make a life. Because trust me, there's a lot of Chinese in Nigeria. There are a lot of Indians in Nigeria. There are a lot of Lebanese in Nigeria. And we welcome people. But you're not going to come to our country and discriminate against us in our own country. Are you really serious? Not to mention that in these countries, there are known cases of Indians discriminating against Nigerians in their own country. Chinese discriminating against Nigerians in their own country and Africans in their own country. And you're going to come to our country and do that? You must have lost your damn mind. You must have lost your damn mind. Forget the fact that it is a abhorrent behavior, racism, right? Discriminating against someone on the basis of their skin color. Forget the fact that nowhere in the world should that be tolerated. And then you have the gall to do that in another person's country. Boy, I tell you, like I said, they're lucky that they shut the place down. Because I'm telling you, if it weren't for Nigerians, if Nigerians weren't who they are, as being peaceful and really cool-headed people, that place would have been in smoke, in flames. Like, why? Do you understand this? But I'm glad that the swift action was taken. I'm glad that the Nigerian government shut the place down. And I'm glad that someone that racist Chinese woman, right, and who is fled. And I'm glad they've opened an investigation because it needs to be looked into. And it needs to send a message out to all the other immigrants in Nigeria who are privileged and be given the opportunity to come to Nigeria and do business and live. You're not going to come up there and create an environment that you think you were superior. Who the hell are you? Yo, you can tell my whole blood is boiling on this, and everyone's blood should boil on this. Who the hell are you? If I even see such things happen here in the United States, I'll be equally as outraged. Do you understand this? If I saw such things happen here, where there was a whole group of Chinese people or white people or anybody barring a people from accessing a place and you were in their own country, I'll be equally as outraged. Like, who the hell are you? Do that in your own country. Discriminate against your own people in your own country. No one cares. Right? Discriminate against Chinese in China. Nobody cares. I think it's abhorrent. I think it's useless. I think it's a horrible behavior. But if you want to do that against your own people in your own country, don't leave your country and go to other country and think that you can now do that against the people and citizens of the country that have invited you over and think that that was going to fly. I think they need to shut that place permanently and be done with the damn thing and send a message to the other ones. Like, you do that in Nigeria, this is exactly what's going to happen. And not only that, they need to send them back to their country. But kudos to Nigerians who stepped up to expose this and put a light on this. Kudos to Nigerians for putting this on notice. Kudos to Nigerians for taking action. Because what that sets to the rest of the world is not here. And Nigerians are not the one. We're not going to let that happen. We put them on notice. And kudos to you. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like the video, share the content, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time.
Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för dig baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger all min tid och jag vill ha dig. Du får mig känna safety. Det kan nog leda